Our topic for today is all about the hypothesis testing, or simply easy tips in doing hypothesis testing. But before that, don't forget to like and subscribe to this channel and hit the bell button for more updates. So what is hypothesis testing? It is gaining wide acceptance in many situations where decisions have to be carefully made. Hypothesis testing is another area of inferential statistics. How does it differ from estimation that was taken up in the previous chapter? While estimation is concerned with determining specific parameter or parameter values, testing hypothesis is hypothesizing about the population parameter and subjecting this hypothesis to a test. So, yung pinagkaiba ng estimation sa hypothesis testing is that yung estimation kasi you are solving the estimated parameter values. O nagsisolve ka lang ng mean ng given parameter, no, or given number of samples. While in the testing hypothesis is nag-hypothesize ka doon sa perimeter na nakuha mo and subjecting this hypothesis to specific statistical treatment. So how do we do it? We get a random sample from the population, collect data from the sample, and use this sample data to make a decision as to whether the hypothesis is acceptable or not. So there are two types of hypotheses. We have this what we call the null hypothesis and the alternative hypothesis. The null hypothesis is that we want to test. It takes an exact value about the parameter. When the null hypothesis is accepted, the box stops there. But when the null hypothesis is rejected, this leads to another option, which is what we call the alternative hypothesis that allows for the possibility of many values. Actually, I've read some article that null hypothesis is not rejected, but rather it is not accepted. Okay, it is always it is accepted or not accepted, but never been rejected. That's according to the article that I've read. But anyway, in this session, we will use the hypothesis or the null hypothesis as accepted or as rejected, depending on the result of the tests and as compared to the critical value. That later on, you will learn how to do that. So the null hypothesis will be written in symbol as this one, the HO, or the null hypothesis. This is the mu1 is equal to the mu2, meaning to say the mean 1 or the population mean is always is equal to the another population mean. The hypothesis or the null hypothesis is a starting point of investigation. That's why when you do an investigation in a scientific in doing a scientific research, you do hypothesis testing or an intelligent guess. So now we have 5 steps to do hypothesis testing using stepwise method. So I call this stepwise method. Okay, and stepwise method have 5 steps. Okay, so the first one is state the null HO and the alternative hypothesis or HA. So null for the HO and HA for alternative. State the level of significance, alpha value, if one-tailed or two-tailed, and its critical value based on the tabular value. Okay, ano ba itong step 2 na to? First, kailangan mong i-state yung level of significance or the alpha value. This one is always given in the problem. Okay, later on you will see. Then state if it is one-tailed or two-tailed. So it depends. If it is directional, it's one-tailed, going to the left or going to the right. If it is non-directional, it is two-tailed. Okay, again, also for this one, you will see this explanation later on. And its critical value, that is depends on the level of significance and the tailed or the number of tailed. Then write the given formula, the formula, the solution, and the answer. This one, it will depends on the on the statistical treatment that you will use. So in this lesson, we will skip this one because I'll be going to discuss this on the specific topic or a specific lesson or subject matter. Like for instance, Z-test, T-test. So, depende doon. Then number 4, compare the answer to the critical value. So once that you have your answer, you need to compare your answer to the critical value that you got in number 2 and make a decision whether to accept or reject the null hypothesis. And finally, make a conclusion based on the decision. Okay? So, unti-untiin natin itong limang ito. Let's start with number 1. How to create a null, HO, and alternative hypothesis. First, find the question in the problem. So, in the problem solving, there's always a question there. And then you need to look for that question. If not, find the condition or the imperative. Make it a statement. So, yung question or yung imperative, gawin mo siyang statement. Then, after that, to make it a null hypothesis, the clues are the following. So, no significant difference. Linking verbs such as is, are, was, or were, and equal. So, these are the clue that the statement that you made is a null hypothesis. On the other hand, to make it an alternative hypothesis, the clues are significant difference, not equal, less than, greater than, or anything that shows directions. So, you will see later. Okay, example tayo. It is assumed that the mean systolic blood pressure is 120 mmHg. In the Honolulu Heart Study, a sample of 100 people had an average systolic blood pressure of 131 mmHg, with a standard deviation of 21 mmHg. Is a group has significant difference from the regular population, test the hypothesis at the alpha equals 0.01 level of significance. Okay, how to do the hypothesis? The first step is find the question or the imperative. So the question here is the group has a significant difference from the regular population? That's the question, right? So ngayon, yung tanong na yon, just make it a statement. So, in order to make it a statement, just erase the first word. As simple as that. So, read the statement. The group has significant difference from the regular population. Period. Okay? But now the question is, yung ginawa natin na statement. Sabi doon sa third is, determine kung ito ay null or alternative hypothesis. So, what's the clue? The group has significant difference from the regular population. Has significant difference. So, kung babalikan mo yung clue, it is under the alternative hypothesis. So, for the alternative hypothesis, we have the group has a significant difference from the regular population. For the HO, you will make this significant difference, yung kanyang, tawag doon, yung kabaligtaran ng significant difference. So, the answer is no significant difference. So, for the HO, the answer is there is no, or the group has no significant difference from the regular population. Another example. The treasurer of a certain university claims that the mean month salary of their college professor is 21,750 with a standard deviation of 6,000. A researcher take a random sample of 75 college professors where he found to have a mean monthly salary of 19,375. Do the 75 college professors have lower salaries than the rest? That's the claim using alpha equals 0.05 as the level of significance. Okay, first, again, find the question or the imperative, yung pautos. So, ang question is, do the 75 college professors have lower salaries than the rest? Okay. So, for this one, after finding the question, make it an imperative, make it a statement. So, erase the first word. So we have the 75 college professors have lower salaries than the rest. Now, determine if the given statement is a null or alternative. So, find a clue. The clue is the word lower, which means that our given is a alternative hypothesis, because in the alternative it shows directions. Okay, so we have this one. Okay, so the 75 college professors have lower salaries than the rest. how to make it a HO is yung lower, papalitan mo lang siya ng equal. So, hindi siya pwedeng maging higher. Okay? Or pwedeng equal or higher. So, the 75 college professor have equal salaries. I think wala na tong done the rest. Okay? So, you need to erase this one. Kasi, ano na siya, mali na yung grammar. So, the 75 college professors have equal salaries. The 75 college professors have lower salaries than the rest. Okay? So now, step 2 na tayo. State the level of significance, the alpha value, if one-tailed or two-tailed, and its critical value based on the tabular value. The alpha and the tailed are the basis for choosing your critical value for decision making. Okay. The alpha is the level of significance. So, ito yung probability na pwede ka lang magkamali. Okay? So, it can be 0.05 or 5%, 0.010, 0.15. So, there are other portion na there is 0.02, etc. Okay? But here, we will use only these three. 0.05, 0.01, and 0.10. Kapag medical, ang alpha is always 0.01. Kapag education, it's either 0.05 or 0.10. Alright, so another is two-tailed or one-tailed. So, the non-directional test is called the two-tailed test. The two-tailed test, the probability is found in both tails in the distribution. Pag two-tailed, non-directional. So, nakakat yung ating nominal curve, ayan, into two. It's either positive or negative. Kapag naman, directional test may either left-tailed or right-tailed. So, pag sabing one-tailed left-tailed, the probability is found on the left tail of the distribution. So, dito makikita yung probability. Pero kapag the right tail, so meaning to say, the probability is found at the right tail of the distribution. So, dito naman makikita. So, kailan natin malalaman kung ang ating mga given ay one-tailed or two-tailed. So, depende yan sa alternative hypotheses. So, these are the graphical representation of the two-tailed test and one-tailed test. In short, one-tailed is directional and two-tailed is non-directional. Question: when we will know if it is directional or non-directional? Clue: always look to the alternative hypotheses. Directional clues are the following: less than, greater than, more than, lower, higher. Meron siyang mga ganon. Directional yon. Pero kapag non-directional clues, ito yung significant difference, there's no significant difference, not equal, linking verb na meron siyang ginagamit such as is, are, was, were, which means pag sabing linking verb, it means equal din. So, tignan mo lagi yung alternative hypothesis. Okay? Kung meron siyang nitong mga to. Pag meron siyang less than, greater than, directional siya. So, pag directional siya, ibig sabihin siya ay one-tailed. Pag naman non-directional yung nakita mo kasi meron siyang significant difference, two-tailed siya. Okay? And then, finally, for the critical value, just use a specific table depending on the statistical treatment you are using and use your level of significance and number of tailed to connect your tabular value. So, example, meron akong tabular value dito ng z-test. Ayan. Halimbawa, yung nakuha ko is one-tailed at ang given na alpha is 0.01. Ano yung critical value? So, tignan mo yung kanilang intersection dito. So, the answer is 2.330. So, that is the critical value of one-tailed with 0.01 alpha. Another, kung two-tailed ang nakita ko kasi non-directional yung natin, yung alternative hypothesis, at ang alpha is 0.10, the critical value is 1.645. Mahalaga ang critical value kasi ito yung magiging basis natin kung i-reject ba natin yung answer natin or i-accept. Later, sa susunod nating mga lessons, makikita nyo kung ano ang gamit ng mga ito. Okay? Example 1. Same problem lang tayo. okay, nung sa systolic tsaka diastolic dun sa given natin. Now, the question is, what is the alternative and the null hypothesis? So, ito yung nakuha natin. So, the group has no significant difference and the group has a significant difference. Now, again, para malaman mo, sa number 2, una, ang hanapin natin is yung alpha. So, the alpha is 0.01 and obviously, nasa ano naman yan, nasa problem lagi. So, alpha is 0.01. Check na tayo doon. Ngayon, tignan mo ang HA. Ang word na significant difference. Ano ba yon? Directional or non-directional? The answer is non-directional. So, since non-directional siya ay two-tailed. So, kung meron tayong two-tailed at meron tayong 0.01 na alpha, balikan natin yung tabular value. Okay? Ang nakuha natin ay two-tailed at ang alpha natin ay 0.01 kung di ako nagkakamali. So, ang answer natin is 2.575. That's our critical value. Tama ba? Yeah. So, tingnan natin ngayon. So, ang alpha natin is 0.01. Ang tailed natin ay two-tailed. Ang critical value natin is 2.575. O, ganun lang kadali ang step number 2. Okay, another. A treasure. Ito yung sample natin kanina na kung saan ang nakuha natin ito, no? So, may konting mali lang tayo dito. Okay, anyway, tignan na lang natin itong HA. The 75 college professor have lower salaries than the rest. So, ibig sabihin lower. Is it directional or non-directional? So, the answer is directional kasi lower. So, pwede siyang, it is lower, so pababa. Meron siyang isang patutunguhan. So, since it's a directional, it is one-tailed. And the alpha is 0.05. Kung babalikan mo ulit yung table, you need to look for the intersection of 0.05 and the one-tailed. And you will get this. So, alpha is 0.05, one-tailed, and you will get positive, negative 1.645. Or kahit wala na yung positive and negative 1.645. Okay? So, that's all about the step number 2, the determining the alpha, determining the number of tail, if it is one-tailed or two-tailed, and the critical value. Next, we will jump on the step number 4 for decision making because step 3 will always depend on statistical treatment we are using, kung ano yung statistical treatment natin. Okay? Kasi in step 3 is all about solving. Now, let's proceed to the decision making. For instance, meron tayong nakuha na Z. Halimbawa, Z test tayo. Ang Z test natin is negative 1.75. And find the critical value of alpha equals 0.05 with one-tailed. So, hanapin natin yung critical value ng 0.05 and one-tailed and identify its rejection region. So, halimbawa, ang answer natin ito. So, ang answer ko ay positive negative 1.645 kasi ang nakuha kong Z, ito, no? Ang alpha ko, 0.05, one-tailed. So, nung tinignan ko yung intersection ng dalawa, ang nakuha ko ito. So, ngayon, i-compare natin yung nakuha natin. Alin ang mas mataas? Yun ang tanong. Okay. So, this is now the rejection region of two-tailed. So, we have 1.645 as our critical value. Ibig sabihin, hindi dapat kapag nasa loob ng critical value, ang ating answer, we will accept HA. Accept HA. Accept HO, I mean. Kapag naman, lumagpas siya doon sa critical value natin. Let's say, nandito siya sa left or nandito siya sa right, depende. Okay? Ang i-accept natin ay HA. Now, tignan natin yung answer natin. Ang critical value natin is 1.645. Ang answer natin is negative 1.75. Lalagpas ba siya ng positive negative 1.645? Correct. Maaring nandito siya, right? So, nandito siya, ayan siya, negative 1.75. Ibig sabihin, lumagpas siya. Kung lumagpas siya, we will accept HA. That's why the decision will be accept HA and reject HO. You got it? Another. Example 2. Given that Z equals 5.24 and find the critical value of alpha equals 0.01 with two-tailed and identify its rejection. Okay. So, ang na-solve natin, for instance, step number 3 is Z equals 5.24. And then, Hanapin natin ang critical value ng 0.01 at 2 tilde. So, non-directional siya. So, ang nakukuha natin dyan ay 2.575. Ito yung nakukuha natin. Ngayon, tignan natin kung i-reject natin yung HO o hindi. So, this is our critical region. Kapag nasa loob, i-accept si HO. Pag lumabas, i-accept si HA. Ito yung nakuha natin, 5.24. Lumagpas. So, therefore, we will accept HA and reject HO. Another. So, we have, okay, nawala yung ating given. Okay, ano yun na lang natin? So, we have 1.645 as our critical value and then lumagpas ulit ang ating given, ang ating na-solve na Z. So, accept HA, reject HO lamang. So, ganun lang siya kadali, class. And then, pag sa conclusion na, kung anong in-accept mo, ay siya yung gagawa mo ng conclusion. So, babalik ka ngayon sa step 1, sa hypothesis, na kung ano yung statement mo dun sa in-accept mo. Halimbawa, ang na-accept mo ay ang HA. So, ang HA, kukunin mo lang yung statement niya. So, there is a significant difference between the two variables, etc. Yun ang magiging conclusion mo. Okay? So, with that, thank you very much for your listening. Our next topic after this video will be Z-test. That is our first hypothesis testing. Okay, with that, thank you very much. Don't forget to like and subscribe to this channel and hit the bell button for more updates. Bye!